Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun.
Welcome to our chaos. I can't see anything yet, so I know you're here, Alicia. Hello.
Hello.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
let me mute the YouTube on the other page so I don't.
It's like, who's sleeping now?
I swear I do that, and then it unmutes itself automatically sometimes.
Oh, good grief. Oh, well.
Wow. Thank you for everyone.
Oh. What happened?
We're all having technical difficulties this evening, so if anybody just disappears,
Yes.
don't worry about it.
Please hold.
We can place bets on who's going to go first.
I know. Well, I heard myself in the other room, and I'm like,
How
do I hear myself so loudly? But anyway, hello and welcome. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. Took us a lot to get here, so we will wait just a few more minutes before we get started with the chaos that we always get into. But we have a wonderful special guest today, and that is Abby from the Disney Sisters.
Hello! I'm crashing the party, the pajama party.
No, you're not crashing it. But
I kind of invited myself. I was like, no, you need to let me be on book month.
Yes, absolutely. We wouldn't have it any other way. But for those who do not know, Abby runs a book club here on YouTube. That's the word.
Yes, I do.
YouTube, Instagram, Facebook page. There's all kinds of wonderful things. And do you want to introduce yourself for those who may not know you or are sleeping under a rock and don't know you?
Sure. Hi, I'm Abby. I am half of the Disney Sisters, the elder half, if you will. My sister Hope and I do all sorts of Disney content, parks vlogs and wishables unbaggings and pin openings and all that stuff. Hope's in the chat right now, so yes. And yeah, the Tale as Old as Time book club I run here on YouTube. We have a live show every 2 months where we talk about a book that either inspired a Disney movie or is inspired by a Disney movie. And June and July, we're reading Go the Distance by Jen Calanita, which is one of the newest Twisted Tales books. So if you want to join us, we're going to talk about Hercules, which is going to be fun.
That's going to be so exciting.
And I love Figment, and so he's on my Tumblr today because it's a
Love it.
Hydration and all that stuff. Hi,
Hi, Belle. Yes, technology issues for a Twisted Tale. Yes, very much so. So I guess I'll go back to the top. Alicia, would you like to introduce yourself? Sort of.
I'm trying to type something in the private chat with us right now, and then I couldn't find the button to unmute myself. So no. Hi, I'm Alicia or Allie from Cinderella Loves Disney. So happy to be here. Probably not going to contribute much because I haven't really read much. So I'm just here to be the moderator and the chat person. So
You have a lot to contribute. Okay, Miss Nicole and Belle.
I apologize for the mowing behind us, but I'm Nicole and this is my daughter Belle. We have the channel Irresistible Magic. It is a family channel, and us two are definitely the readers of the family for sure. And reading is something we're really excited to talk about this month.
Yeah. Well, we're glad to have you here. Thanks for coming on too, Belle. I mean, you are inspired, right? Inspired by Belle. Okay. I know there's a lag, so there's a lot of awkward silence. Either that or I'm just so crazy right now that nothing's making sense anymore. But Miss Nina, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah. My name is Nina. My channel is Wrestling with Disney, and I've started incorporating more books and book content onto my channel, and I love it. I love talking books, and especially with these ladies. So excited to do it tonight.
Well, I'm so excited that y'all joined me, and I assume because you guys are clicking on the channel, you know who I am. But if you do not, my name is Heather. I am the Disney housewife and the most chaotic one here. But Hello, Read Pray Disney. Thank you for joining us. And I do apologize if I'm looking off. I'm having to read the comments beside me here. So I do apologize if I keep looking off. I'm not like disengaging. I just can't see. So, but yes, Disney content, same here. Books, anything that really interests me. But I really am drawn to books and cooking. And I do try to incorporate that with a Disney spin on it. But sometimes you just can't. So you just have to like follow where that leads. And so I'm glad it really led us here tonight to talk all things books. So I know that we tend to get off kilter a little bit, and that's perfectly fine. We can go off the rails as much as y'all want to. But I would love to know if anyone has a favorite or least favorite book that they've read so far this year. And whoever wants to jump in, just jump in. It's fine.
I gotta consult my Goodreads to make sure it's this year.
I was trying to do that backstage, and then I was like, "You're green and purple," so I have wavy lines on my laptop. So, yeah.
Let's see. For this year, it is definitely going to be Renegades by Marissa Myers, which is like a superhero. I think it could be I still think it could be me. I might switch to my phone just to test it. But that's been my favorite so far. Superhero fanfic rather than like fairy tales, and I'm all for it.
I have yet to read those, but I've heard really, really good things.
I think you'd love them.
I desperately want to read them. I want to read Renegades because Marissa Meyer is an excellent author. She really draws you into the story. Like, it's beautiful. I think my least favorite book that I read this year is Alias Hook. It was a little bit more than PG-13 for me, and I really like middle grade and young adult because I want to be taken away. I want the character development, but I don't want mature audience intimacy levels. And that one kind of it was too close for me. But my favorite this year is probably between these two. I really liked A Stars Above by Marissa Meyer too, but this one is the last book in Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children book series. And it was a little underwhelming because I wished it would have been more, but it drew her in. And anything that gives me a reason to share my favorite books with my kids is like golden, really extra special. And we've read through the whole entire book series now. But this one, out of all the Peter Pans that I've read, and I'm still reading more, Lost Boys, this story was so good. And it's it's not a hard read. But it was really beautiful, and it varies much more on Hook and kind of where James came from, who he is, why he's in Neverland, and like who Peter really is. So those were my favorites this year and my least favorite.
Awesome.
Very good answers.
What about you, Abby?
Ooh, I've had several favorites of the year so far. Death on the Nile by Agatha Christie blew my mind. Ooh, this one right here. This is the beauty of doing this for my bookshelves. I can just pull these off. Dearest Josephine by Caroline George was beautiful. It was everything. So this is like a split time romance. So there's like this girl who goes to this new mansion, or she moves into an old mansion, and she finds letters in the desk that have her name on them, and it's so good, loved it.
Beautiful
So
cover, too.
yeah, so those are probably my top two. I mean, I have a lot of other favorites this year. Is it me that's doing the clicking? Because I'm hearing it now.
Because I have the issues, right? I'm the train wreck of all of us. So
I know. I
apologize.
tried to switch in case it was me to help it, but it was still there, so I may switch back.
So maybe it's me. I could go down and get my brother's microphone, but I didn't.
Or I don't
Bring-
know, because I know when I went on the phone, it says if you experience echo to switch to headphones. So I don't know. I don't
Maybe
know.
I could put headphones in, see if that will help.
Are you on your phone?
I'm on my laptop, so
Okay. It could be me.
no, I'm still hearing it. Am I still hearing it? Yeah, I think it's me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it's you. I think it's me.
All of us, except Alicia, who's just laughing. As if it's
We're
gonna
all
help,
claiming.
thinks it's us.
I'm just gonna take it. It's me, and I can't do headphones and keep plugged in at the same time. So
Right.
I apologize for the clicking in advance. But y'all love us enough that you're gonna stick around anyway because it's gonna be fun. So, did you tell us your least favorite?
I don't know that I have one. I think, honestly, don't kill me. I think it might be Peter Pan, the original. But I mean, I still liked it. It's not that I didn't like it. I still liked it. But see, I knew Nicole was gonna go.
No, I like Peter Pan is so uncomfortable to read, and
It really
I
is.
found there's a new book and it's Peter Pan and Wendy, and I grab the book and I start reading it, and I purchased it because I'm like, oh, there's another continuance, like maybe we'll see more of where he was going with this character development. No, it's the same book. It was published under 2 different titles, but because I have OCD so bad when it comes to reading, I had to finish it. And I'm like, again, when I read it the second time this year, it really plays into I don't know that Peter's a good guy. I just don't know that he
Peter
was ever
freaked me
intended
out.
to be. Yeah, very, very creepy. Very ominous. But not as bad as Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, I definitely preferred it to Alice in Wonderland, but it definitely was not my favorite of the year.
Both of those books, more so Peter Pan, I always loved the sections in London so much more than Neverland, which I know is so warped. But even, especially in the movie Hook, it was so good. The first 20 minutes of that movie were like, wow, this movie's going to be awesome. And then it just isn't. They don't keep it going. And, it makes me so upset.
I love the transitioning for the parents in Peter Pan. You grow to love the Darcys, you love the Darlings as a family and their family dynamic. And the way at the end, I don't want to spoil it, but seriously, if you haven't read Peter Pan, are you really going to, unless somebody forces you? But at the very end, how they're very welcoming to everybody. I love that, just the way that the family is shown in a different light, because Peter Pan is focused on the kids and the kids leaving, and you don't know that this man is a businessman and that he thinks that it's his fault so bad that he's sleeping in a doghouse. Come on, really? So
Yeah,
I do love that.
The Darling family was hands down my favorite part of the book. Well, and Toodles, but the
Yeah.
Darlings and Toodles, they were my favorite.
Guys, we got to stop because there's a Once Upon a Time reference in the chat. And I was so obsessed with that show. Anybody else here in the chat, big Once Upon a Time fans, or OA, UT?
Because of them, we sat down and watched all of the Once Upon a Time, and it was all of Abby and Hope's recommendations, and you have to watch this. We haven't watched the last season. We got kind of into it and then went, what is going on? But
when it's good, it's good, and when it's bad,
it's really, yeah.
When they tried to incorporate Frozen, they were trying to just ride the fads, and
I loved the Frozen.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest with you, I really enjoyed it.
I liked even into Merida. It's when it got into Broadway musically weirdness that I went, ooh, okay.
But let's hear it for Hook, because Hook and Once Upon a Time, I think, is what made a lot of these Peter Pan retellings more engaging for me.
They are beautiful. So, hi. I have fallen down a Peter Pan book problem We're just going to call it what it is. It's an addiction. And thanks to Abby, because it was the book club that made me read Peter Pan that I haven't read since I was like really young. And now I've got a whole bookshelf full of Peter Pan retellings. And most of them have this, they make you love Hook. You really learn to love Hook. Right now, she is falling in love with Tiger Lily.
Oh, nice.
The Tiger Lily book is read.
No, it's because you're sitting there.
I was listening to the audiobook, and she gets interested because TikTok is actually a chief, and like it's all on Tinkerbell's view. So it's kind of a very like Tinkerbell is watching Tiger Lily and explaining what's going on. So it's a very different concept to the book writing.
That's cool. Is that the book that's called Tiger Lily?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
And Heather, what were your favorite reads and least favorite reads?
Yeah.
I would have to say Peter Pan as well. But also, I was so disappointed in Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. It's not Disney. I could not stand that book. And I was such a Wayward Pines fan that I was really disappointed with the entire, with the entire story. My favorite, oh gosh, I don't know. I'm all worried about
What's the one that like lingered with you that like you couldn't stop thinking about it?
Well, from all of my
In a good way.
Instagram spam, I loved The Sanatorium. Loved it. And I also was that last year or this year, Nina? You know, because I sent it to you. When I read Lock Every Door, I was obsessed with that book. And I can't remember if it was this year or last year.
I wonder, because it took me a few weeks after you sent it for me to read it. I feel like it may have been this year.
I feel like it might have been this year that you read it.
I think so. But I did just finish a YA book called The Lake. So it was like a YA thriller. And it wasn't too heavy in the adult content. Like some of the relationships were still exactly what you would expect for YA. Very, very tender and stuff. There was nothing explicit. There was nothing inappropriate. It was just really good, which some of the stuff I read is pretty intense sometimes. So it was a nice shift to still have that thriller aspect, but without all the smut, if you will. So, and I don't like things that are really heavy on language. It just kind of, it's a jolt when I read it. Sometimes I'm like, hey, how did that get there? Because you go and expect this great story and I'm like, okay, now you ruined it. And that's part of what ruined Dark Matter for me was the constant GD bombs. And I can't do that at all. So I would have probably stuck through it with the book. I thought it was going to be a great thing, but that really ruined it for me. So
one of my least favorites this year was a Peter Pan retelling, and it was Lost in the Neverwoods. Has anyone read it yet?
I haven't read it, but I've heard of it.
It is on my bookshelf to be read, but I have not read it yet.
What's funny about that one is I've heard such polarizing. Some people love it, some people hate it, and there's like no middle ground that I've seen of people being like, it's fine. Like, it's either they love it or they hate it. There's no.
Yeah, it's a different take, which I respect and wanted to see how they do it because it's about Wendy today. And she, John, and Michael in the modern world were three kids who went missing, but in reality, they went to Neverland and she doesn't remember it. And John and Michael are still there, but in the world, they're still missing,
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I just didn't love it. There is no whimsy. I needed whimsy.
Need the whimsy. I will say, after reading Peter Pan, I always used to think it's so strange to me that so many retellings take it so dark because there's like this whole genre of like really scary, dark Neverland retellings. And it always weirded me out. But now that I've read it, I'm like, okay. And Once Upon a Time too did it as well, where Neverland was like really scary and like Peter was dark, and you were like, I was like, that's weird because I grew up with it's fun and it's whimsical. And so,
but at the same time, like all of the quotes are creepy. Never like to die would be an awfully great adventure. Like all of the quotes from the movie, this book goes dark. Like it is murderous and everything, but it is beautiful. Like it is absolutely heartbreakingly beautiful, because I think that when you think of Wonderland, it's like crazy and whimsy and like nonsensical, and when you think of like Oz, it's very ethereal and very strong and captivating, and then you're like, oh, Neverland is spooky. It is scary. It is dark. It is where everybody is out for each other. But wait, so Belle, which ones are your least favorite?
My least favorite, it's not really like that I didn't really like it. It was just that I don't really need to read it again. It was fine. I didn't get interested. It was the newest book of the Warrior series.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And your favorite books?
I have like 4. So I have the new series I started reading, which was the Fantastic Tales of Nothing. It's not this series.
No, it's just a single book.
It's just a single book. It's sad because it needs another one. I read a Better Warrior book this year. Wings of Fire, and then I can't remember what it's called. It's Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children.
I have this one, and I've had it for like a long time, and I have yet to read it, but it sits here on my shelf. So should I read it? Is that what you're telling me? It smells good. I'm sorry.
Yeah, she started with the graphic novels, and now she has started with the books, that series.
That one starts. I haven't finished it, but it's good.
Scholastic books? I don't know what it is. Scholastic books they just smell. They have the good smell. I don't know.
We should all just like smell a book, right?
It's my favorite smell.
Yeah. So why aren't there candles that are called book fair?
I know.
Specifically for the Scholastic Book Fair.
Man, that would be amazing. Wow. What about you, Alicia? Have you been able to read anything this year yet? I know you like to do slow and steady and just like savor it. Like
I usually only read when I travel, and I don't travel a lot. So, hey, Birdwell. So I finished reading something that I had been reading for about 2 years off and on, and then I started reading the next book in the series. Both are Patricia Cornwell books because I love her books. But I'm really slow at it. I haven't probably picked it up in a couple months, so I just don't have time. I'm trying to make ears for swaps, okay? I don't have time to read right now.
That's what audiobooks are for.
I just finally got into ear making, so no, but I do enjoy it. I just don't get to do it as often as I would like.
okay. Sorry, I'm trying to remove the hello.
Well, what Nicole was saying earlier about Neverland, I think the retellings do often go so dark because really, when you dive deep into Peter Pan, it seems much more intentional of taking children from their homes to a place where they won't need parents and will never grow up. Like that shit's dark. That's dark.
There was a line at the beginning when the darlings are going off with him, and John is like, oh, well, why shouldn't we go? And it said something like, this, of course, was what Peter had been luring them to. And I was like, luring them to? Excuse me?
When it's in black and white, you can't deny it. You know what I mean? That
it's like, okay.
Guy, maybe there's another way to view this or see it.
Yeah. So I did like how Once Upon a Time took Peter. I thought they did a really good job. Hope and I just rewatched that not long ago, and I was like, okay, yeah. They did a good job with that.
Reveal with the Peter parentage and whatnot is so fun in that story.
Because with the other, like in the black and white, right in text, you're like, step away from the clown van, that's like, you want to hold a puppy?
Yes, yes. He's hey, want some candy? You know, he's not just this kind ginger elf who lets you fly. It's like it's all for he's luring you.
Yeah.
Let me give you some of my pixie dust. No,
Yeah.
that's a whole.
Say
nother
no to
thing.
pixie dust, kids.
Yes.
Oh,
You don't
my
have to
goodness.
be high to fly. Don't listen
There
to
you
Peter.
go.
There you go.
I'm interested in knowing. Oh, we lost Alicia.
I'm just laughing at Alicia's funny faces that came up. She's just cracking it up at all of us. Apparently, we're making her laugh. So that's great.
I would love to know what sparked everyone's love of reading. Like we all have that moment where you just dive in and there's no turning back, So I would love to know. I will just open the floor with you, Abby, since you are our special little guest today.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to know Abby's answer.
I honestly don't know. Both of my parents were and are huge readers. They read all the time. My mom doesn't read as much as she would like anymore. But Dad reads, big fantasy novels and Lord of the Rings and all of those things. And yeah, so we kind of always grew up, my siblings and I, reading and having books around. And yeah, I think I was probably like 4 and I started reading anything and everything that I could find, which my mom said was annoying because I would read like the signs on the side of the road and like just read them out loud. And there's my tiny voice in the back of the car, never shutting up. So yeah, it's just always been a part of my life. And then I started reading out loud to my siblings, Boxcar Children and Encyclopedia Brown and all those things. And Peter and the Starcatchers was one of our favorites that we read together. And yeah, it's just kind of always been part of my life. And I'm the voracious reader of the family. My siblings do read, but not as much as I do. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm cracking up. I know that's hope. Did you see that?
Yeah.
You don't have to be high to fly. Hashtag. Oh my goodness. What about you, Nina?
My parents didn't read, or really my siblings, but they would nurture my reading or take me to the library, and I liked the library a lot as a kid. Like I can remember the glow pencil topper I got for doing this reading program when I was really young, and it kind of just stays with you as this really cool, nurturing place. And that's kind of what I think of. And the first series I got into was the Little Babysitters Club with Karen, and my mom got me all the books, and I loved reading them. So that is probably my earliest memory of reading. And then reading becomes this weird thing where it's like, if you don't have somebody kind of nurturing it with you, it just becomes obligatory. School assignments, things you have to do for school, and you lose it. And then on summers, I would find it again. And then it really was like Twilight and Hunger Games that helped me read during the school year until finally I finished school and could read whatever I wanted all the time. So that still like mystifies me, like having the choice. There he is, a shiny vampire. Twilight was so cool to read while it was coming out, because I would have early classes, and at like 7:30 in the morning, you would see girls walking, holding Twilight and reading across campus. And then before the professor came, you would sneak in as many sentences as you possibly could because you were just that eager to know what happens. It was such an exciting time.
That is so funny.
I will say, Nina reminded me of one thing that I remember so vividly growing up was Dad would take us to the library, and we have several branches around us because our library system is coolest. And so I would go off to middle grade, and he would go off to the high fantasy, and then we'd check back in, and like Hope and our brother would go off to the DVDs or wherever they wanted to go. That's still one of my favorite memories. That I can smell it, like I can feel, like it's so ingrained in my memory that like I know how it felt, and it was great.
Yeah. What about you, Belle and Nicole?
I was probably sitting down reading with my mom or being in the car and we're just driving listening to audiobooks.
I love
I've read to my kids forever because reading is something that is, I don't want to say it's enjoyable. Like, I don't want to cry, and Heather should have known this was coming when she put this answer. Reading for me became a necessity because I had to escape. At a very young age, I needed something that wasn't worth anything so nobody would take it and try to resell it. I needed some place that I could go that wasn't my own mind or my own walls because it wasn't a safe place. And books gave me that beautiful, like, I made friends. I had concrete places I could revisit time and time again. They were not going to let me down. On top of that, I could read and learn more about the things that I desperately wanted to learn too. And it became this almost ingrained in me as a therapeutic measure of being able to step outside my body, to be able to go on adventures, to be able to share that with my little sister at that point in time. And my kids has brought my love for books and reading and the stories I went on, instead of as a survival method, into pure and actual joy. So, like, it's a little bit different. Nobody read to me. Nobody, like, it wasn't fun. It was, I could grab a book from the school library and I could take it home and I could ignore everything that was going on. And that helped me become a better person because I didn't have to just stay in that moment. I got to go to Narnia. I got to go to Wonderland. I got to go to Oz. I got to go to everywhere, and it was amazing. I also was diagnosed with dyslexia when I was going into third grade, and my the person teaching me how to learn how to read with that told me that the more you practice, the more you transition your eyes into seeing what is actually there instead of them faking you out. Like, it's a muscle and you almost have to muscle memory it. And I still read the wrong words all the time. I do it, but it helped me grow. Like, I was in control of something that was setting me back, and I could then progress even further. So it was all like, for me, it was all survival and growth in what I needed to get done that turned into, I love the places I've gone. I love the friends that I've had. And if a book disappoints me, I don't ever have to revisit it. I don't ever have to look at it again. I don't have to see it. And if I love it, I can go there.
Yeah.
So what were your favorites during that time growing up when you started to learn that reading was like an escape, and favorite places? I know you mentioned Oz and I think Narnia. Wondering.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I loved The Wizard of Oz and all of the series. Like, everything. I mean, I just bought the collection too because I loved Wizard of Oz. I also loved a lot of Charles Dickens. I loved A Christmas Carol. I loved Oliver Twist. I loved those type of books. I loved Narnia, but I never got past the third book. And I loved reading, like...
Have you read them now?
No, I know. I got to get on it. But
I'm literally wearing the ears that Heather
I know.
made me cry.
Well, I'm wearing Heather ears too, but they're golden.
But I always went back to the whole, like, Dr. Seuss, because as nonsensical as you think it is, The Big Brag and The Lorax are two books that I have loved forever because they really are teaching you good lessons in a fun way. And Little Critter, I loved reading those to the kids and stuff. But yeah, I went to a lot of fantasy worlds even back then. I read The Lord of the Rings.
Wow.
I read a lot of Dean Koontz when I was in middle school, I think, because that was the thing to do, was like Dean Koontz or Stephen King. And Dean Koontz's books were a little bit thinner and Stephen King's were a little bit fatter. So I went there. I loved, and then I got out of high school, I got into the Left Behind series, and I read all of the teen section. I read all of the adult section. I reread it again. Like, I absolutely, so
yeah,
it all kind of transitioned.
You're reminding me when you mentioned Dr. Seuss, my mom had signed me up for a Book of the Month Dr. Seuss club as a kid. And I think that's part of like this whole mail thing we find ourselves in as Disney YouTubers, and just, getting that book every month and how exciting that was. And especially like I have several siblings. So that was something nice because it was really just for me because nobody else was interested in that or at that age. So that was really nice. And now I have a niece who likes to read, and she's young. She's about 4, turning 5, but I get her books all the time because as long as she still enjoys it, I'm gonna keep buying those dang books.
Yes. Yes. What about you, Alicia? I know that we share the love of Patricia Cornwell. So, like, what got you into the love of reading?
Yeah, sorry. I was like taking a bunch of notes and stuff I didn't want to forget to say because things go out of my mind as fast as they come in. So for me, it was really my mom. When I was young, my mom still has like an entire wall full of bookcases that have books in them because she used to get, I think it was the Doubleday book club, which I don't even think Doubleday is around anymore. But she used to get like a monthly book club or a book. And so that's how she built up her collection. And sometimes she'd give me her books to read. I do remember one of the first books I ever read was Little Women. And I know what we would do after church is we wouldn't watch TV. We couldn't turn the TV on. So we would either play board games or read books. So I just kind of had it since a very young age. And my mom would just, like during the weeknights after work, she'd be on the couch reading if we were sitting and watching TV. She was always reading. So it just kind of passed on to me, I guess. I do enjoy it. So
yeah, that is awesome. I love how like we all have this massive love for books, but like our beginnings were all different. So I think that's really wonderful. Yes, I
highlights. Highlights magazine. Anybody? If I could get it today, and I would only have access to it like at the dentist, and there would be like the subscribe card. And I'm like, Mom, highlights.
I remember reading them at the doctor's office.
They do have them.
Actually got them though. We had a bunch of like the Christian ones that were like similar, but like the church version. But yeah,
I remember those too.
You can still sign up for highlights, and they have like just the search one, just the seek and find things. Like I know because she gets all sorts of flyers in the mail, and they still send you the free stickers, the free like 5 smile stickers with the like please sign up, and you're like no.
Off one of the freeways out here, there's actually a building that's in like a set of warehouses that says highlights on it. I can't actually figure out if it's still in. It looks like it's abandoned, but they just never took the sign down. But it is literally the highlights logo. So it was at least one time out here. So
if they're near you and you're not saying, "Hey, need any employees? I'm coming. Give me free highlights. I'll send them every box shot."
Oh wow, that is so cool. Hi, Kaylee.
If it were me, it'd be like woman arrested for continually petitioning highlights for employment. There is this book service, and it was really before ebooks got huge. What's it called? Books Free. And it's like a library, but they mail it to you and you have your list online, and then you get 2 or 3 books, send them back whenever you're done, and then they send 3 more. And I used to like send them my resume all the time to do their social media, because I was like, you are a Netflix for books. You need to promote more. You need to be in with the booktubers. Like, let's make this happen.
Wow, I didn't even know anything about that, but that's pretty cool.
They're lost because I was ready to rock and roll it,
Yeah.
They went under because they did not hire Nina for their social media. So
let that be a warning to all.
That is on them.
They're living with the regrets. I just know it.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Well, everyone in my family was much older than me, but they bought me books all the time. And I remember my mom doing, I don't know what it's called now. It's where you get one Disney book a month. Like in the beginning, you get this little blue Mickey bookcase thing, and now they come with like backpacks and different things like that. You would get like the 5 books for $1.
The Groyler
Books.
books? Because I think I used to get something like that. Groyler, the Groyler books. Yeah, because I have a bunch of those books that I've had for years. So, yes, that's it.
Like this wonderful world of reading or something at the time, like, you know, in the 80s. So my parents got me that. So I look forward to that all the time. And I had a ton of highlights. I had, I can't remember the name of that, but it was like in the doctor's offices in the 80s, they had these Christian like Bible story books. They were all blue. But there was like a massive collection of them, and I wish I remember what they were. But they bought me.
I feel like I've seen the covers, but I can't place what they were.
I can't remember what they were, and I should have came prepared. I mean, this is my gig, right? But a train wreck, right? But that kind of started it, and then I would do the book fairs, like the Scholastic book fairs, and the like bookmobiles. They would always have like the bookmobile pull up at school in the summer, and you do the craft and you do the books, and that was when I would get all of the Garfield comic books. So Belle, I was in your shoes. So I loved doing all of that, and it just stuck with me. There's no greater joy than picking up a book and just going somewhere else for a little while, you know. But I did read Stephen King in middle school because my brain was really warped at the time, and it's fine. It's fine. I don't read that anymore though because I'm too scared. The older I get, the more I become a chicken. So I don't.
It says the person who reads like creepy, scary books. Like your books, I go, oh, that's a little dark. There's a girl in the cellar. There's a daycare.
You know, the stories he tells on those recaps, there's the person that's kept in the dungeon and this and that. I'm like, what is she?
Locked up the sister-in-law, and that, I'm like, you're scared? I'm scared of your book. But I think that's another reason why I love books is because there is literally something for everybody. If you want to self-help, I just read an enlightenment book that was absolutely beautifully written, just about forgiveness and letting go of everything that you don't have control over, to something like history books. Like we love American Girl because it transitions into talking about hard subjects that are not always fun, but it makes it relatable to a small child. And like then you have books that you can learn, like my husband can grab a book and he can learn statistics or whatever he wants to do. You can go on a horror reading binge. You can keep it PG-13. You can have an affair with Fabio. I don't, like how you read is up to how you read. But there's everything under the moon. So everybody can get something from a book. And I think that it's one of those, like, I don't know, it's a beautiful love language that sadly a lot of people are taking for granted because they need instant gratification nowadays. But it's mind engulfing and developing, and it helps your vocabulary, and it just helps you be well-rounded because you're watching every book you read, you're watching somebody tell a story from their point of view. So you're looking through their eyes.
Right.
Like that's a beautiful way to see the world, is to like see it through so many different people's eyes.
Yeah, I was going to say American Girl was my jam.
Like, there you go.
They were my thing. I loved those books. And I still do. But yeah, I have them. They're like all down there. They're all lined up. My mom was very good at finding them like secondhand. And so I have like the whole collection. Not some of the newer ones, but all the OGs. They were my favorite.
Wow.
And Nina, you had mentioned the Boxcar Children, which was another one. That was, I will say, that was Hope's favorite. I think she read more of those than I did. Like, she loved the Boxcar Children.
And Bradley's was Percy.
Right?
Yes, American Girl was dolls and books. So they were 18-inch dolls, and they were based on, like, girls at different points in American history. So I had Felicity and Krissa, who was 2009's Girl of the Year, I think. But yeah, those were my dolls.
Brad would like me to add. His was Witch and Wizards. I was going to say Percy Jackson, and he like How to Train Your Dragon.
Don't get me wrong, but the first Witch and Wizard book that I ever read, I sat down in a day, read the first chapter, and then finished the book.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's the only time I've sat down and actually finished a book, start to finish, in a single day.
Thank you, ominous voice.
Head from another.
Has anyone else had one-day reads?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm trying to think what any of mine have been. What have some of your one-day reads been?
I devoured. So Scarlet was the most recent one-day read. I finished. I put it even like you have no idea.
Fat, man.
It is really fat. Okay, so I had gotten through Cinder. I was done. I had to. I audiobooked it first, and sometimes I like tangible books. I feel like sometimes I lose things in tangible books every once in a while, so I'll do both. But I was listening to it on audiobook and sewing, and I was like, I don't know what happened, so I took the day off the next day and literally did nothing. Like, I don't know that I ate. I needed to understand what was going on more. So did I read it verbatimly, or did I skim more of it because it was so fresh because I just finished? I'm not sure. But I'm notorious for, like, let's get it done. I'm already halfway through, and she'll reread a book. We're rereaders.
I will read in a day, and they are this thick.
Yeah, but they're mainly pictures, so it's okay. But
They're still books.
They are
still books. They are still books.
And I read things. I read things like this, so we read like 7 books in a day still, because like, what if you had animal eyes?
Mm-hmm.
These are fun books. What if you had an animal's tongue?
Oh my. As long as it's not a giraffe song. I mean, we know how I feel about those. Goodness.
This one I
So
read
it came up in the chat, the epic Pizza Hut Book It program, and just how iconic that was. Do schools do anything like that now?
They still do. So she has, like, they have a readathon where you get pledges and donations for your local library, and you can earn trophies and different prizes. They still have Book It, especially through the summer. They have the summer Book It program. They also have Barnes & Noble's 6th grade and under has a reading program, and if you read so many, you get to pick a free book from theirs, and we've gotten several of those too. And their local libraries often have summer read challenges, and for every 10 books she reads, her name goes into like, you could win an Xbox, you could win a TV, you could win a $500 gift card. Like, they have all sorts of stuff. A robot was one of them. So there's a lot of different reading programs. I just don't think it's as publicized, and as kids are more worried about getting to the next level in their games and not turning pages in a book.
I remember the Barnes & Noble program was my favorite growing up, and I remember forcing my siblings to read, not so that they would get the book, but so I could get the book, because they didn't care. But I was like, no, you have to read 10 books in this level so that I can get the free book at the end of the summer to add to my collection, which is probably terrible, but
That's what siblings are for.
yeah. This is why I was reaching. This is one of my favorites that I got at that Barnes & Noble thing, and it was random. I picked it up randomly, and you can see, like, it's super worn because I read this thing like a lot, and it still smells good. Which Hope earlier had said she remembers the used book smell. Hope hates the smell of books. She does not like it, but it's my favorite
memories
smell.
of you bullying her to get you free books. Triggers her.
Probably. Well, I mean, like, I would be like, I mean, do you want the book? And then they'd say no, and I'd be like, okay, well then I'm gonna get the book then.
I was wondering, because you mentioned, Nicole, kind of how the library will do these reading programs or readathons. I see a lot of book YouTubers or booktubers do readathons where they'll be like, I'm gonna read as many books as I can in a weekend, and like they legit do it. And I'm wondering if anyone's ever done that.
It depends on my mental state.
Mhm.
Like, you know, if I'm in a bad place, and this sounds really crazy, but if I'm stressed out, if I'm worried, if a pandemic hits and I need to sew and I'm freaking out, I'm going to consume audiobooks. And like, that's all I'm going to do. For 10 hours of my day, I'm going to listen to an audiobook because I have to have my hands free. Well, the same partakes when I'm stressed out and going through things in life. Like, I'm flipping the pages of a book constantly because I need to be out of my own head before I can. Like, I need to be in a right space in my head to be able to adapt to what's going on and understand and feel my emotions genuinely. So I'm like, I don't challenge myself, but I'll get into those things where I'm like, oh, Emma, that was 4 books, and now what do you do?
Thankfully, I was on mute because I just snorted.
That was me.
This private chat.
Heather was going like this earlier in the chat. So I was coming up with theories.
I had a fly. I had a fly that kept coming across my face. So I apologize if you guys saw this.
I thought she was waving away
Okay.
like a bad smell. She doesn't like the smell of used books like Hope. And she's waving it away.
No,
I think it wasn't Hope that said that the book smell was Abby's perfume, her Scholastic perfume or something like that. I was like, okay, that's what she likes.
She used to hate. She hates it. Like, she will not, especially used ones. She'll occasionally smell a new book. I'm like, smell, and she's like, no. I'm like, it smells so good.
I would like to imagine, because I can't imagine you girls ever fighting, but if it was like, oh yeah, I hate the smell of used books. Oh yeah, I hate the smell of new Vera Bradley. You take that back. You first, you know, like that's how it would go down.
I mean, it's not. I mean, okay, I will say this. She's gonna get mad at me. She has some like essential oils in her room. I can't do essential oils because I have allergies and they give me headaches. And so one time she spilled one a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, dude, you can't spill your essential oil. It smells the whole second floor of the house.
So I know you're talking about like the smell of books. Mine is the bind break. Like, when you get to break the bind and you know where you stopped at first because that's where the big break is and stuff, or the one that you've read so many times that it literally is just eaten up. I'm like, that's my favorite.
There's always,
Yeah, when it's just like ripples and you're like, yes, that's bind break.
Damon! Damon says Heather smells books like a crazy lady.
I think if anything, we're clarifying she is not crazy, or we are all crazy, one or the other.
So what books do you guys have? Because we're talking about wearing out the books. Like, what are your books that you will reread and reread and reread?
Well, my Narnia books are up here, and they also have all sorts of wear on the spines. That was one of the first ones I remember Dad reading out loud to us, was The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And my dad is the coolest narration reader ever. So he read Percy Jackson the first time too, and he does all the voices and everything. It's so much fun. So that is one of my memories. So those are all worn out. But this one that I was just pulling up is Gregor the Overlander by Suzanne Collins, which was her series before The Hunger Games. And I've read this book quite a few times, and you can tell there's like cracks all in the spine, but it makes it nice and floppy when they're not initially floppy. It's good. It's a nice reading experience.
Yeah. I personally love a floppy book. I like when you can hold it and it just like, see, look at that. It doesn't open. I like to be able to walk with my coffee cup with a book that's open, you know. And
you don't have to like struggle with your thumb to turn the page, you know. Yeah.
See, I'm the perfectionist where I hate when there's a crease in the binding of my books. Therefore, I tend to get hardbound books, and I actually take the covers off when I read them. So all my covers are pristine and brand new and sit on the shelf on the books. So
my copy of
copy
of The Blood of Olympus by Rick Riordan, which is the last Heroes of Olympus book, has like fingerprints, like greasy fingerprints I remember I was reading it and I was eating at the same time, which I don't eat greasy foods while I read anymore because of that. But I remember my mom being like, but now there's greasy fingerprints. I was like, it's fine. The dust jacket is clean. It's totally fine. No one's ever going to see this but me.
That's what got me into ebooks, because I would read on my lunch break and be trying to use my hands and eat my sandwich. So then once I got ebooks, it was like done. I just have to boop. I love rereading
Tap it
Wicked
with your knuckle.
a lot, and Little Women, Harry Potter, and probably Jurassic Park. Those are a few of my faves.
Oh wow.
I'm a big rereader, and it just depends on where we're at. But Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, that whole book series I've reread. Okay, I reread up to the current book, so I tend to have to go back and read all of the books in chronological order to get to the latest book. But I've read them. I read As Old as Time 4 times in a matter of less than 2 years now. That, and I've read Harry Potter's. I've read the original Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and then all of the Wizard of Oz. I've reread the Wizard of Oz series, the 20 books in that series, a million different times. I've only read Wicked twice, and I have yet to read the Jurassic Park. I can't believe it. I know, shocking. I need to. I know.
You haven't read Jurassic Park?
I know.
You're gonna love it. It's just so much more more dinos.
You're my dino friend. You haven't read that?
No, I love dinos. But I do read paleontologist books. I will read about dinos, just straight up encyclopedias and stuff. And then hers, she rereads. If she likes it the first time, she'll read it 10 times. I know. I can't believe I haven't read Jurassic Park. It's a thing. I gotta get on that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. And A Christmas Carol. I read that every year. I also read the American Girls Christmas stories. There's a bound big book, and I read them every year too, which sounds really silly, but I don't know.
The Christmas ones are always my favorite.
Yeah, Molly's is my favorite of all the Christmas ones.
Oh, yeah.
And
well, they read A Christmas Carol in that one, don't they? So it's kind of...
They do. They do. It does circle back. I love old books. I would rather buy a thrifted book that somebody else loved or didn't love, and now I can give it a home. I really love it when there's writing in it. When it says to my dearest granddaughter, with love always, I feel like I have that piece of that person, and it's really special. And I don't like hardbacks. I only get hardbacks if the paperbacks are not they don't publish them for 3 or 4 years after publication.
Yeah, I don't really care if the book the pages are bent or it's a hardback or not. I just read them and I like them, or I don't. And then I'll reread them.
But
I like them.
the books. Don't rip the books.
I don't rip them.
They're not barbaric.
I don't rip them, but I don't really care if it's bent a little bit.
Yeah. Hardcovers, I find I do read them, but I find they dig into my hands and stuff, and I'm and it's not as comfortable. Hold it if you're laying down, and it's just I prefer paper.
I totally get what you're saying though, Abby, and because the author that I read, her books are 500 plus pages, so
Right.
it is very difficult to hold the hardbound book when you're trying to read. It's better if you can put it on your lap or something, but I just can't do the paperbacks. I'll buy the paperback if I can't get it in the hardbound. That's the only time. I do have some. But
Hardcovers look prettier on a shelf. Paperbacks are better for reading. That's the way I've always felt.
Yeah, it
So.
depends on my intention for the book. Is this going to live on my shelf? Is this something I need to read for something? Or even if I'm going to be taking notes, for a book club, I like to get it used.
Yeah.
But great question. Do you guys read the book before seeing the movie?
Depends on the movie.
Yeah, it depends on if I want to create my own visual for the characters or not. For Game of Thrones, I found watching the show was so helpful with keeping up with the characters because I had faces for the names. Wondering what you guys think.
I read several now Agatha Christie's because of the movies that I wanted to read it before I watched it, especially mysteries. I find because if I already know who done it, then it takes the joy out of reading it for me. I can still watch it if I know who done it. I still find it enjoyable, but reading it's not as fun if I already know the answer.
Yeah. But I also like the character development, like you said. Like, you get to know people more. They're like,
Yes.
the movies skim over a lot of stuff that the books put in there, or like they omit these big, gigantic things. So if I liked a movie and there is a book, most of the time I will still read the book because the book's probably better. Not always, but probably.
Because you get more Doctor Who. You get more dinos, more of the whole science behind it, and you see how a good idea never dies, because like then they'll use it in one of the following movies. Like, you know, if you're like, wow, that was an epic dino death, why didn't we get that in the same Jurassic Park movie? It circles back.
Nice.
Heather, I'm wondering what will you see the movie first or read the book?
I definitely will read the book first, because if I watch the movie first, I'm like, then I don't think I want to read the book, because sometimes if I read the book first, I'm going to be upset with the movie. And then if I watch the movie first, I'm going to have that visual of the person in my head so much that it doesn't typically fall in line with who I'm visualizing, I guess. It just doesn't fall in line for me if I do it the opposite way. So I try to read before I watch the movie. I'm sorry. I'm so distracted by all that crackling, and I do apologize for everyone who's hearing it. It is driving me so wonkadoo. It is so
technical.
I'm so sorry.
I think we figured it out, though, as long as it's not too hard to mute and unmute. Because when you speak, it's okay. It's just when it's not muted and you're listening.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I will make sure that I'm doing that from now on. But yeah, all the technical difficulties.
I will say one time, the few times that it's helped me to watch the movie first was when I had to read things for school. And if the movie existed at the time, it helped me so much. If I could not get into the book, because then I would watch. I remember watching Julius Caesar, because especially Shakespeare, it really helped me to see it, which makes sense because it's written as a play. It's meant to be seen. But that really helped me understand what was happening in the book.
How do you guys feel about, like, because I have to have a visual for each character just to keep up with who's who. So if I'm reading a book and they're not giving physical traits, I kind of, early enough, I kind of have to come up with my own, and then several chapters later, like, he's a redhead, or something like that. So sometimes I like the movies because they help me with that, because then I can, especially when they're like big ensembles, and big, or like with the Star Wars books, there's so many sub characters who get big attention, and I don't know what species they are because I don't know all the Star Wars species. So always finding myself Googling the names to kind of get a visual. Or even you could get into Twilight when there's all those other vampires from the different, I don't think they don't use the word covens in Twilight, I don't think, but from the other like vampire families. It's a lot of people, and having the visuals help.
I've never actually read anything that was out in a movie before, so I can't really say anything about that. I am very picky about, like, if they remake a movie off of a prior movie, or if they do a sequel. I'm very picky on the details and the characters. So, yeah.
Alicia,
I do think also more of a recent thing has started being where books get adapted into TV shows, and I way prefer that because it's so much more time. It's like 3 hours versus 2. And
it takes me
that minimum.
You're like, it took me 22 hours to read this book. I do not want to watch a 2-hour movie on it. Like, give me justice. Elaborate on the book. I love the book so much that I want to see more of the characters. I want to see more of the underlying storylines, where they come from, who are they? And like, so for me, the TV adaptations are so, I don't watch TV, I'm going to be completely honest, but I love it more because it's like, yeah, you're giving me the time.
Yeah, I don't know if any of you are fans of Wicked, but I always wanted the Wizard University they go to, Shiz, to be its own TV series because I just feel like there's so many things you could do with that. That would be
And Alphaba's incredible.
so fun. So fun. And those, are just one of many of the different retellings Gregory Maguire did before it became as trendy as it is, He really was, I feel like, the first to make it trendy.
What stories are those, as in which books have gotten TV adaptations? Or
I know right now we have Shadow and Bone,
yes,
which is really
which
popular.
I very much enjoyed. I will just say that.
I wonder if
Thought it was great.
Kaylee finished it. I didn't start watching them yet because my rental for Siege and Storm ran out. And I know once I read it, I'm going to picture them like the TV show and not in my mind. So I wanted to try to finish it with my visual, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I read Shadow and Bone and Six of Crows, and then I watched the show, and I thought it was great. Because honestly, I wasn't sure. Here's the thing, Shadow and Bone, it was fine, but I feel like I'm glad they added the crows in because I feel like it kind of bolstered the story. I feel like there wasn't enough.
Yeah, and not
story.
enough characters too, because you really just have Mal and the girl. I forgot her name.
Alina,
thank you.
So I watched it with my brother too, and he really liked the crows. Which
the Disney brother.
Yes.
It always throws me for a loop when you mention the brother.
The mysterious Disney brother. He's made a few cameos in our videos in reflections or whatever, but he doesn't. Yeah. But some of my favorite, like I really enjoy like the BBC miniseries adaptations. I haven't read a ton of the books, but I liked Pride and Prejudice. I liked what's the other one I watched? North and South. I really enjoyed. I think the BBC did that one, but I haven't read those books, so I can't speak to the comparison. But it's up there and it's massive. Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell is one of my favorite books, and the adaptation for that was a miniseries. It's 7 episodes, I think, and I thought they did it really well. Plus, it's like an 800-page book, so I wasn't sure how they wouldn't be able to combine that into a movie. But I think the miniseries was the perfect way to do that because there's so much to cover.
Heather also mentioned another really good example, which is Virgin River, and I read the first book because I liked the series so much, and I have to tell you, this was a rare example where I felt like the show went deeper. I'm wondering if anybody else has experienced both, because I'm curious if others felt that way, but I feel like that first season took several books of character development and implemented it, or already, since they had the benefit of knowing where the characters had been and where they're going, they were able to kind of work that in a lot more. But what a great show. If you have Netflix and you're looking for something cozy, something, Hallmarkish, but with a little extra, Virgin River.
I personally preferred the movie for Jane Eyre. I didn't really I read it in high school, and I was not a fan of the book at that much. I'm going to try it again now that I'm older. We've got 2 Heathers. This is exciting.
Yes.
Double trouble.
One of them's delayed, I think.
There should only be one.
Yeah.
That is so weird.
But you're there, so
Yeah.
and you look good. It was a good capture. Now you're one.
This is the real one. Yeah, it just closed out on me and then came back on its own. I'm like, okay, what is going on?
When I was in high school or in college, when I would have what do you call Shakespeare, I would read the No Fear Shakespeare's, where one page it was translated and the other page was Shakespeare, and that was really fun. I don't know if anybody ever did those.
I have a children's book. Actually, Like, it's an Usborne bounded children's book, just like this, a hardback, and it is Shakespeare. And it is Shakespeare in a form where children can understand it, but it's the same stories. Like, literally, you're reading the Midsummer Night's Dream, but in form that a child could read it. Well, they were doing it for a screen adaptation, and I read those books to Belle, and she understood Shakespeare better than I ever did. And I suddenly understood, because there's a translation error in the way that they spoke, and just the, I don't know, demeanor, because they were plays and stuff. So I love when they make it so that it's like, Shakespeare for dummies, here you go. And you're like, yay, I did it.
Honestly, I read Romeo and Juliet and Julius Caesar in high school, and both of those I was like, man, this Shakespeare guy does not know how to edit. Like, there's so much. It does not need to be this much.
Shakespeare.
Like, I get the story. The story's fine, but there's so much of it that's unnecessary. So I feel like, a No Fear Shakespeare kind of thing is probably way better.
But at that point in time, they needed that to keep an audience, because how else were these very wealthy, studious people going to stay entertained for 3 hours of their day? They didn't have TV. They didn't, to watch a play was a very decadent experience. So is it a little bit nonsensical? Absolutely. You're like, I don't even understand. Okay.
Yeah. And I feel like I would have a different experience with Shakespeare if I actually saw a good performance of it. Like, if I watched a great performance of Shakespeare, I'm sure I would have a very different vibe than just me reading it as a teenager.
Wrong. You have to see it. It doesn't matter how good the performance is. There is, until you hear it the third time, you're not going to get any of the jokes. You're not sure what they're saying. You're like, everything looks... My favorite set I've ever designed, ever created, was A Midsummer Night's Dream. However, it took me the third time before I was like, that's what they're saying.
Yeah, I don't get Puck, any of them. Like,
Good time.
I'm sitting here talking on mute so y'all can just enjoy the crackle-free noise. Alicia actually has to go film a video, so we're gonna have flies on my face, but we're gonna say goodbye to her really quickly, and then she's actually got a cool video that's coming up tomorrow. Can you still hear me, Allie?
Yes. Sorry, I was writing in the chat. Yes, so I am partaking in a pin tag that one of the gals in our Facebook group created. A few of us are participating, but I tagged you, Heather, you, Nicole, and you, Abby, and Hope to do the pin tag. So the video is coming out tomorrow morning, whenever you get a chance to watch it. But I'd love it if you guys did the tag. So, yeah, I have to drop off, but this was a lot of fun, and it was great having you as a special guest, Abby.
Thanks for having me.
I will talk to you guys soon.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye.
Bye.
And then there were 4. Boom, boom, boom.
Alicia's a diehard Shakespeare fan, and she just couldn't handle it, Abby.
Listen, I understand. I respect the man for what he did for the English language, but I just can't get into it. Okay.
Yeah, it's hard. And if I didn't have those, I would not have been able to under it. But great comment in the chat from Birdwell that they get Hamlet only because of the Lion King.
I will say, I did watch with one of my friends the Kenneth Branagh and Emma Thompson Much Ado About Nothing, and I really enjoyed that one. I got everything that was happening, so that one I thought was fun. But his tragedies are not for me. Let's just say that.
Even his comedies are tragedies for you.
Yeah, you can't win them all.
Yeah, no.
I am very curious, you guys. What is your most anticipated read of the year? Like, is there a new book coming out that you really want to read this year? But if you don't have a new book that's coming out, do you have one on your TBR that you like have to read this year? And Abby, is our
What Once Was Mine comes out, and of the Twisted Tales, the Mother Gothel of the Serena Valentino was my favorite one that I read, and it really gave me a totally different perspective. So I'm like super excited for the What Once Was Mine, Mother Gothel, and then Dust and Shadow are like my Peter Pan ones that I'm like waited for forever now, because I feel like I've known Shadow was coming out. I'm like, I just desperately want to read this, but I won't, because I know then I will have to read it again.
Yes, I've been waiting till Shadow drops, because all of my friends are like, you need to have Shadow because it's crazy. I think my number one that's cute. That went well. Okay. I just got this in the mail. I actually won it in a giveaway, which was very exciting. It's called These War-Torn Hands, and I really don't know that much about it, other than I think it's King Arthur, but in the Wild West, and so I'm very intrigued. And it's also very floppy, which makes me happy. So I read the first chapter, and I'm very intrigued. So I think this one is one that I'm anticipating. Yes. And also Dust will probably be happening this year for me. And What Once Was Mine, which I will probably put in the book club in September, October, something like that. So
sometimes I'm not sure everybody like reads the book in its entirety. So please, everybody, I'm asking you now, when she puts that up there, please vote for it. I desperately want to read it. Desperately. And I will read it. Like Reflections, I feel like we talked about it and we didn't even talk about it, because like my heart, like how beautiful that story was at the end, where she had to basically state that I am all these things. I am everything you see
that
in these
scene in the mirror hall was like so emotional.
Yes, it was. It was very beautiful, very reflective, dare I say.
I thought it was very clever that she used mirrors for all of that character development. Nina, what are your most anticipated?
I was really looking forward to Luck of the Titanic, and I didn't love it like I thought I would, but I loved it more than my last Titanic read. You know, I think I'm so much of a mood reader that maybe that's why I don't have too many, because I'm not following enough of what's like coming out, other than what I see on like all the great booktube channels. But until Luck of the Titanic was one that before it was out, it was already on my wish list to have ready and loaded up on my library and stuff. So I'll go with that one, even though I already read it. What about you, Heather?
Actually, I also have the What Once Was Mine. So September's a good month for me, because I also have The Wish from Nicholas Sparks that, of course, I have to read, because I'm not all about the thrillers, y'all. I mean, a lot of the time, yes, but
thrillers and Nicholas Sparks. That is Heather's.
I'm a well-rounded person, okay?
I love it. Anyway. I love it.
But you would be proud of me, because look what's next.
Ooh.
That's what I was trying to show you behind the scenes earlier, and I just see purple lines. That's what I was trying to
I'm so excited. Look it, we're twinsies.
Twins.
This is another one that smells really good.
What are you reading now in the chat too? And you ladies, what are you reading now?
Yes. And then
what am I reading right now?
Huh?
That is a very good question. I'm like, what am I reading right now?
Yeah, I asked what everyone's reading now.
I am currently in the last couple chapters of Tiger Lily. That is the book that I am tangibly reading. And then Straight On Till Fright, which is a Disney Chills book. They are very much like geared for 3rd to 5th grader goosebump type of books. But you know, I gotta read all the Peter Pan now, because I've fallen in love with Hook is what has happened. He has broken my heart to the point where I love Hook so much. And I have to hear.
Like Once Upon a Time hook, or are you picturing Disney?
No, I did like Once Upon a Time hook. Like, I was definitely more of, I wanted to see more from Pinocchio, but
August was good. It was a good character.
And I liked the Dave that, you know, but so I'm reading those two, and we are currently reading through all of the What If an Animal Has, because it's actually animal facts too. Like, it has like, what if this, and then it tells you all about that animal, because my daughter's obsessed with it. So a lot of times in summer, my to be read list goes down a little because we have more time to read as a family. But we'll see. I have to find time for Jurassic Park in between everything.
You guys
are like, seriously.
Dirty. It's like you have this beautiful grown man.
and you waste him.
Like,
completely wasted.
That's how you solve this problem.
I love Pinocchio, though. Like, I wish they would do more adaptations. Like, what does Treasure Island really consist of? Is it more like Neverland? Like, what was
villain place?
Right. Like, this is where you know, I love Gideon and Foulfeather too. In the whole like realm of everything, I feel like Pinocchio is just one of those movies that like kind of, it's classic. Everybody knows the characters, but I want to hear more of their story. I want to know, what was it like to be in Monstro? Like, what was Geppetto thinking about? What was he doing to survive at that point in time? I'd love to hear a story based on Jiminy Cricket, and like how you turn from being simplistic to actually being the conscious and constantly giving a person the choice to do right or wrong, and to watch them fail repetitively at what you're giving them, and then to still just steadfast not give up because that's who you are. Like, there's some whatever. I get a little bit of, I want more books, people. That's what it comes down to. I just
got me thinking like of a backstory where like Honest John is like working with Peter Pan, and he lures them to Treasure Island, who then lures them to Neverland, you know, or just like some sort of cross of like these things where they really are similar when you think about Treasure Island and Neverland, except one has the horrific ending of becoming donkeys. Yeah. While the other, you know, you at least never grow up and you can fly but not land.
I was just trying to think if I've ever even heard of a Pinocchio retelling, and I don't know.
I have not.
I have.
No.
I feel like maybe I've seen a cover of one at one point, but it was a long time ago and I don't remember.
It's like, how do you I'm trying to think, and as like a writer from that point of view,
yeah,
like how you would retell it.
I mean, there's definitely avenues one could take, but I feel like it would definitely be similar to Neverland. It could go really dark really fast.
Right, and you have the puppeteer, like, you know, I don't know. I'm also reading The Trials of Morgan Crow. I finished that book and I want to read the second one. Those are really good. Like, they're really fun and very the same type of style, fantasy books, like coming of age. Oh no, what happens? Is she a wizard? Does she have powers? Like, type of book. But it was fun.
Yeah, I haven't read those yet, but I've heard really, really good things.
Yeah, I want Pinocchio books.
Well,
from my
your treatment on my desk by Monday, a couple pages of what your Pinocchio retelling would be, and let's make it happen.
You know what? Here's how it goes.
There are books redid.
Abby, you go ahead and write up these books, and I will illustrate them.
There you go. I'll read it. You know, Heather and I will read them.
Nina will be our beta reader.
There we go. We've got our editor. She's going to make sure that like everything is strategically placed and stuff. And,
Love it. I'm currently reading a biography on George Lucas, and it's like a deep, I forget the author. He did one on Jim Henson and one on Dr. Seuss and one on George Lucas. And if you ever need, as a writer, I think you'd like it, Abby, because if you ever just want a reminder that you can create the biggest universe in the world with the huge fandom, like, this is it. Because you go so far deep into his life before, like, you would think that something like Star Wars was in him forever, and it really wasn't. it came to him, and once it did, it kind of became his destiny. But it's been an incredible read. I've been really loving reading that and just getting more Star Wars and into that universe in a different way. And
That's
the
super
pressure
cool.
of that, like of having people care so much, because it's like he gets very personal when critics don't like it, but now when fans don't either. And then you think that George Lucas was the problem, then he sells it and you get these Disney versions and you're like, well,
Lucas was not the problem. Okay. Yeah. That's cool. I think it's so interesting the way that so many giant franchises start, Like The Hobbit was just a bedtime story that J.R.R. Tolkien told his kids. So was Percy Jackson, same thing. And it's just like, they start from anywhere and suddenly people care a lot about how they go.
The classic story of J.K. Rowling, it kind of coming into her mind on the train, and she's getting all these thoughts and she doesn't have a pen, and I like to think like, all right, can that epic idea just fall into my lap? Kind of like how this Pinocchio retelling, Abby, has come to you.
Wow.
Imagine like, okay, if you're one of the writers who's like, commissioned to write a Twisted Tale, and you're so excited and you're like, who's it gonna be? Like Maleficent, or are we gonna get, this? And then they're like, you're getting Pinocchio.
The puppeteer from Pinocchio.
Have fun.
Stromboli. Have fun.
Right.
I was having a hard time. I'm like, what's his name? I can't remember.
Maleficent or Ursula. It's gonna be badass. And then they're like, you have Stromboli.
You get to write the story of the hunter who killed Bambi's mother. Have a good time. What are you doing?
There's a writing prompt. There you go.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, I'm currently reading, let me think. Oh, I am currently listening to the audiobook for Why Didn't They Ask Evans by Agatha Christie, which is a murder mystery that is so ridiculous, but I love it so much because these people are, it's different. It's not Poirot, it's not Miss Marple. It is just two people. One of them is a really rich earl's daughter and the vicar's son, and they have teamed up to solve this murder case. And so they're so pretentious. It's ridiculous, and I love it. But yeah, that's what I think I'm currently in the middle of. And like 5 other things that I'm also reading because I can never stick with one thing.
I think I'm the only one here that's like I read one with Belle and one by myself, and sometimes I'll sprinkle in an audiobook that's different, but I am definitely I have to focus only on you, and I need to only focus on you, and I have to finish you before I can start. Like, I can't have a relationship with somebody else until I'm done with my relationship with you. And everybody else is like, I'm reading 17 books this minute. And I'm like, how are you invested? I don't understand it because it's not my brain. I am a book polygamist.
Yeah. I read several books at a time. I take them all to bed with me at night. And because I don't have an attention span. So like normally I won't do the same genres, but I'll have
I don't do the same genres.
And my fantasy and maybe something that's like a little different than that. So like up to 3. Mm-hmm. But like audiobooks are its own category. Like you wouldn't interfere with that.
I'm
a monogamous.
I usually will have a physical book, an ebook, and an audiobook. They're not always the same. Yes. Sometimes they are. Sometimes they're not. But I usually have the 3 because I read them at different times. Because like sometimes I can cart my physical book in the car. Sometimes I can't. So I just read on my phone. So it's like, that kind of thing. Sometimes I don't want to stare at a screen, so I read a physical book, And I don't read the same genre at the same time, or I will get confused. Like, I don't read 2 fantasies at the same time that are too similar, or they just meld in my brain. So
that's my fault. If I'm not reading a child's book, I'm only reading fantasy. Or I will read I will read some historic books, and I will read not self-help books, but like, I just put it down there. The things you can see if only you slow down. And I listened to that on audiobook, and this year has been fun. And sometimes listening to those kinds of books helps, like, you slow down. Like, exactly what it says. It's like, are you doing this? Are you self-sabotaging yourself? Yes, I am, book. I am. Thank you.
Heather, where do you fall on how many books you read at a time, and what are you reading now?
Unmute yourself.
I know. I probably should. I'm like, y'all don't hear me commenting or nothing. I'm just like talking to myself over here.
I'm sure Damon will let us know in the chat if you say anything good.
Yeah.
Okay. I always have physical book, obviously, ebook and audiobook. Right now, I'm actually listening to Cinder.
What are your thoughts?
I love it.
Yeah.
Nicole and I are both like, yes.
I'm still trying to finish Reflections and Unbirthday. I'm on the struggle bus, you guys. I like Reflections, Reflections, whatever it is. I like that so much more than I do Unbirthday. Unbirthday is just not. Like, at first, I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty cool because it's not in Wonderland in the beginning. And sorry, spoiler if y'all haven't read it. But then it's like, all right, well, this is what we're reading. And it's just boring. It is so boring. I'm thankful that I only paid $1.99 for it. Otherwise, I would have been very angry. But I'm also reading The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. It's another camp-ish book. It's based in a camp, like a summer camp. So it was like The Lake that I just finished, but I don't know if there's going to be more adult content. I'm not that far into it, but I really like it so far. Riley Sager doesn't really get too hefty with the adult content, other than, like, you know, I'm not going to spoil it. Well, you've already read it, Nina.
Yes.
So never mind. But that's
I need to read one of his because you love them so much, and I haven't done it yet.
I have to read an Agatha Christie.
Yes.
Those seem, especially, it seems like you've been reading quite a few of them.
I've read, I think, at least one every month this year so far, which
that's awesome.
I don't know why. I just have enjoyed them so much, and the audiobooks are not too long. So they're all like around 6 hours, which is on the shorter end for an audiobook. So that's really what I've been doing, because I listen to an audiobook to fall asleep every night, which a murder mystery is probably not the best choice, but they're so like cozy. I love the way she writes them. They just feel very comfortable, and her writing style is very like self-aware, and I think it's really fun. So
what would you recommend someone start with as their first?
Let's see. I really liked The Mysterious Affair at Styles, which is the first Poirot novel. So it was like the first one that kicked everything off for her most famous detective. So that one I really enjoyed. Death on the Nile is the best one I've read so far, but I have yet to read And Then There Were None because I'm putting it off because I've heard it's the best. So
It is amazing. It really is. Yeah. Like, And Then There Were None. It's
yeah.
Well, like, how do you go, this is a really good book, and this is a really good book, and I love this writing style, and I love this person, and yeah. It's hard, but I loved And Then There Were None.
Yeah. And I will say I have read, I think, 2 now of the Miss Marple mysteries, and I love the character of Miss Marple because she reminds me of Jessica Fletcher. So I love her. She's so fun, and I can totally see why they totally based Murder, She Wrote on Miss Marple. I'd be shocked if they didn't. So yeah, I love that about it. But yeah, I've really enjoyed them. I've been loving them, and they're super fun, I think. So Mysterious Affair at Styles is probably where I would start. Death on the Nile is the best one I've read so far. So that's where I'm at.
I feel like you have something you wanted to say about the Agatha Christie stuff, but I'm not sure.
Oh, I have one somewhere, and I can't for the life of me know where it is, or figure out where it is. Know where it is. I tell you.
It's a mystery in and of itself.
Yeah, there you
No.
go. Heather
It's
and the
got this-
Lost Agatha Christie novel. That could be another book that you tackle, Abby. We'll just keep giving you ideas.
I am not smart enough to write a mystery. I have wanted to for years because I love mysteries, but I'm not that person. There's so much pre-planning that goes into it.
Don't tackle like a murder first. Tackle a lost book, and then we'll work with the book B. You know,
There you go.
or a
But,
hidden Mickey, perhaps. But
perhaps. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Am I still staticking when I talk?
I don't think so.
Because I don't hear it anymore. Maybe the curse.
that was another mystery.
Maybe the curse is broken.
Exciting.
No, it was really pretty. It was like a dark navy blue cover with some like turquoise across it, and I can't remember what it was. It's driving me crazy, but I will send you a message of it. It's the only Agatha Christie that I own. And with the houses that we rent there in Kissimmee, they always have like books that other people have left. So you can like there, and that's where I got it from. I left a book and I took a book. So yeah, I was like,
has anyone read the Truly Devious book series by Maureen Johnson? That's a new
That's on my list.
mystery, and that was a lot of fun.
That one's on my list. I haven't read it yet, but I want to.
Yeah, and they came up with a fourth one now, so now I'll have to keep going.
Yeah.
I have such a big list, like with everybody sharing books and stuff on YouTube or like gaining friendships. And I'm like, yes, Lockwood and Co. is on my list, but I can't get to it because I can't read fast enough or I don't have enough time in my day. But it's like my growing list is always growing. And even though I'm devouring books, it's not getting any smaller.
Yeah, I mean, my wish list is longer than the amount of days in a year. So even if I read a book a day, it's still, and the amount that I add them to the list is at a much faster rate that then I still wouldn't finish it in 2 years because I'm sure I'll add
Keep
more.
adding.
Hi, Mary. I'm assuming it's Mary, but if it's Tony, hi, Tony.
And then we read like this Peter and the Starcatchers. And then I'm like, well, now I have to read the whole series. Those things are gigantic. They are no joke, like
they're so
Goliath type of books. And it gets to a point where those books are sometimes like I can't read certain books before bed because you don't have a good stopping point sometimes for many chapters, and I need to go to bed. So I like those kinds of books are almost harder for me to complete too because I have to do it in the daylight, like when I know I'm giving it my attention, because I don't know if I need 5 chapters before I can stop, because I'm not one of those people. I cannot stop. If you're there, you're like, what? No. What happens? Now I need to know, or I'm never going to go to sleep. I'm never going to amount to anything. Like, I'm going to get nothing done.
I will warn you, Lockwood and Co., every single one has done that to me. I'm up till like 3 a.m. because I'm like, I just need to know.
I really liked it. I want to get more of them.
Yeah.
Partially because it's spooky and I have a very vivid imagination. So if I can't read spooky books at night, I have to read them in the daylight. I can't do it. Murder mysteries, not so much, but like ghost stories, yeah, I can't do them at night. So, but every Lockwood and Co. book, I'm like, I have to see how it ends so that I know it's all okay, and then I'll be fine.
It's so funny you say that because, like, I'll watch like true crime specials like all day or like true crime podcasts, but if Tommy puts on a violent fictional TV show, I'm like, absolutely not. No, that's distracting me. Turn it off. And meanwhile, for some reason, the true ones I'm like devouring, which is far worse, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't mean that to trivialize people's real experiences, but it's just so weird how like that I can do, but he'll have one that's a fictional version of like, nope, get it off, too violent.
Well, my mom and I were talking about it a long time ago because I was like, why is it that murder mysteries, like murder mystery shows, never bother me? Like, they don't keep me up at night or anything. And she's like, I feel like it's like a romance novel. You kind of know how it's gonna end. Like, by the end, the detective will have solved the mystery. We've lost Nicole.
I
It's
know.
very
I wasn't
sad.
prepared for the extreme close-up. I pulled a Buzz, your girlfriend, wolf moment where I'm just like, oh. You do it again. Whenever we take a bad photo in my family, we go, Buzz, your girlfriend, woof.
Oh, goodness.
I just felt like I had one of that, like the rear facing camera.
Yes,
moment.
when you're not. Somebody, one of like the first memes was of Ursula from below with Triton's crown, and it said when you switch the phone to selfie and you're not ready.
Oh no.
Nicole, come back.
Oh, goodness.
David said she went AWOL.
She definitely did.
Now I'm all distracted because that pin tag Alicia left to edit her film. I was like, oh, I did that. I didn't do that. So now
She's back.
Oh,
I'm back.
yeah, sorry. Thunder boomed, and then it might. I went away.
I'm probably in danger of that, but oh well.
Johnny, I read at nighttime too. I just find that's the way to beat the number one thing people say of I don't have time to read. It's like, well, I make time to read and I do it before I go to bed, And if I'm that tired, then I won't end up. There are nights where like I'm reading until my eyes will not permit anymore,
Yeah. I loved when you said that on one of your videos, Nina. You were like, I make time to read, because I do. It's not like I have extra time in my day or I don't have things that I have to do. It's that it is a priority. I don't watch a lot of television. Like I'll watch a movie or shows or YouTube.
Yeah.
But
hobby someone's passionate about.
Yep.
Who gets their nails done or hair done. It's just you value it, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just you have make time for. Ooh, I just splashed my water in my face. I don't know if that came through.
We are just we're doing the best ever here, guys.
We are.
Like
Heather has a fly. Nina's splashing water.
Yeah, but you make time for what you like to do.
And you make time for things that, like, you have to pay yourself first. Like, if you're not in a good place and you're not doing the things that, like, calm you down or put you in a better mood, then you're actually robbing yourself of that, like, joy that you could be experiencing. So, like, some people like to get their nails done because that makes them feel better. Like, it literally makes them feel better. Some people like to run. I do. I like to run and listen to an audiobook because physical exercise makes you feel better. Some people like to clean their houses. I don't know who they are, but if you know who they are and you would like to send them over here, you can totally come over. But everybody has those things that kind of takes away little parts of their stresses and puts them in a better mental space. And like book people, it is books.
Yeah, I think like when you said it like that, it's kind of like what sports are to my husband. I think reading is for me. And this is the ESPN post-game show where we're talking about the book stats. And so Abby has read 35 books this year.
42, actually.
Are you kidding? I don't.
To that. Very good.
Yeah.
I think it's 42. I honestly don't remember. I will say, I want to ask you guys, because what Nicole was just saying just made me think, how do you feel about DNFing books? Like just stopping if you're not feeling it, if you're not vibing. I DNF books all the time if I'm not vibing at the time. And I will say a DNF for me is not necessarily I'm never coming back to this. It's not time for this right now.
I can't commit. I can't focus on it for whatever reason, or just not able to. I think a lot of it's happened more since I started renting a lot of books, and the ebooks you only have for 2 weeks.
The library rental, man.
Only put 5 books on time on hold. So if one of my holds comes and a book I'm not feeling is in the way, then I've learned that's kind of helped me in DNFing because it's not always easy to do.
Nicole's like, no, I have to.
So it's like a Brussels, like I like Brussels sprouts, but it's like the kid that has that liver on their plate and they're not allowed to have dessert if they don't eat the liver. I'm like choking it down, holding my nose, going, oh, I can just do this. I know I can. You have to be excessively vulgar. Excessively.
Really?
For me to be like, okay, I can get through awful books that I'm like, I don't even remember what happened because I checked out, but I read the words because like, hello, goodbye. And you know just the plot twists, but I just cannot set a book down and be like, okay, well, I'm not reading you unless you've offended me. And it takes a lot to offend me, but unless you've put me inside somebody else's bedroom that I don't believe that I need to ever see, and I can't skip enough of it. Sometimes you can just skip over a paragraph or two and you're fine. No, then I will put it aside and go, I'm never going to read you. But short of that, like I choke it down like liver and onions because I have clinical OCD.
Heather, what about Midnight Sun is causing the second DNF? What's not?
Do you just not like Edward's POV, or is it just
realizing that he's a controlling vampire? No.
Edward is very exhausting.
Oof.
I mean, there's at least, I'm probably exaggerating, but it feels like there's at least 250 pages more than the actual Twilight book. So
I think it is. I think it's a lot longer than Twilight.
Yes.
I might be wrong.
I'm trying so hard, and I get like to chapter 7 and I'm like, I can't. I just can't. And I feel like what caused it this time was because I added it to the reading thing for May the Force Read With You. I added it to that when I had other books that I needed to finish in the month. So I put way too much pressure on myself and I'm just like, I can't. And then I got in the biggest reading slump and I had such high hopes for June, and I'm just like, I don't know what my deal is yet. Like, obviously, we dealt with some loss in the family, and it's just like, I don't know if it's that, or I had so much to do with that I couldn't, like, get back into it. I don't know. I'm struggling still. I don't know if anyone goes through those slumps where they're, like, extensive periods of time or not.
I'm just coming out of one. I don't know what it is, but it's for me. It's like sometimes I'm such a mood reader anyway, so I think that's why I read a million things and I DNF things all the time. But yeah, sometimes I'm just like I do not feel like picking up a book right now, which is always so sad for me because it's always my happy place. But I'm like I just physically cannot get into somebody's head right now.
Yeah. Sometimes. I know when I did the reading challenge last month and that distracted me a lot because I am a mood reader, like you said, Abby. And sometimes when I'm in, which almost makes you think, am I always in a really bad mental state? That when I'm in a really fabulous one, I'm like, oh, I don't need to read. Because then that means that the other 51 weeks of the year, I need escapism. But, sometimes I'm just too excited to like go somewhere else, but that really doesn't happen too much.
Yeah, that's partially why I don't really do readathons because once I put down a list of like I need to read this, I don't want to read it. It's like I think that's residual from like high school. I'm like I don't want to read it. I don't want to read it.
High school books I'm almost tempted to go back to and like give a real shot and feel like maybe I would like The Great Gatsby. You know,
right. That's why I kind of want to go back and do Jane Eyre again now that I'm an adult and I feel like it's over high schoolers' heads, to be honest with you.
Jane Eyre is a transitional book. I think it's one of those books that you can read every 5 years and you will completely get a different the story completely changes because the character point of view, everything, you just look at it with a different set of eyes. But
I will say the one that I loved in middle school, I read The Giver, and it's still one of my favorite books. I loved it. I have the giant bind up of like all the series now because I needed it and it's beautiful. Look at this thing.
Oh, look at that.
It's so
pretty. Beautiful.
But yeah, this is all 4 of the quartet and I love it to death. Read it over and over again. Yeah. What's the prettiest book in your collection? I want to know. Do you guys have one that's like, I love how this book looks?
I have one, and I'm gonna go grab it.
I know, I'm gonna make everybody leave the camera. Go get your prettiest book and come back.
In the meantime, I find the whatever it was I was looking for.
Find the Agatha Christie book. I'm trying to think which one.
So I got this from my friend Bethany. She works with Fantastic Girls and sells Usborne books, USBORNE, and they have lots of classic titles. Like it wasn't just this is technically a kid's book, but they had like Little Women like this, Anne of Green Gables.
That's beautiful.
And
there are no age limits on books. Stop it.
You're right, and it's. So when I'm not, because normally when she does like a party or something, I'll order a bunch of books for my niece. And I was like, I want to get one for me. So I
that's
started with
beautiful.
The Wizard of Oz, and I think I'll get some others, each time I'm ordering from her. So yeah, it's really, really. And then if you look here, it's like, it's hard for you to tell, but that's like Scarecrow, Tin Man, like their little.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, details. And I'm a sucker for foiling on a cover.
Yeah. Shining, shimmering,
splendid. For sure. I just thought of one. That's why I'm reaching. Oh, it's in the background. Darn. Yeah. It's in our room. It's Piranesi. That's beautiful. And it's in the room. But the cover's really pretty. But underneath, it's got
you don't have the book. I was gonna say, what's the inside like?
It's really pretty. It's very pretty, and it's in the other room. And Hope's downstairs, so she can't even go grab it.
That's funny.
It's really pretty. It like has because it's got all these like statues are like a huge part of the book, so they're all like on pedestals, and it spells out
in a video.
I did. I showed it in my book haul. Yeah, but it's got like the letters of the title. It spells out Piranesi. It's beautiful. Oh gosh, Nicole's got a stack.
I just got this one.
Ooh.
And I thought I loved my other Peter Pan one, but this Peter Pan one, like I love the old style of this, but these are my prettiest books. These are my favorite. I only grabbed a couple of them. And by couple, I can't count. They're like this. These are the Usborne illustrated stories. So this is the Charles Dickens books. And again, like the
color
illustrations like that, like really drawn. I love that. And like illustrated fables around the world. Now, granted, these are all children's books, but I don't put an age on reading. I'm not age readist. But this is illustrated stories of Shakespeare, the book that I was talking about earlier, and like Grimm fairy tales, and they have all of them. But I don't know. I love them, and I love that there's, I'm a visual person. Yes, Nina, we know you are. But I need lighter books. I was just talking to Heather about this. Like, in all honesty, I need things sometimes, like when I devour a book that was like cumbersome and very heavy on your heart and on your soul and on your mind, I need to go back and read Mary Poppins. I need to, because I need something light and airy and frivolous and just like Winnie the Pooh. Like, I just read all the Winnie the Pooh stuff, and I read all of Mary Poppins this year because I was coming off of reads that were emotionally daunting, or they were physically just like very large novels, and I needed something to kind of reset that reset button before I could get into something else big.
Yeah. My friends are always making fun of me because I am pretty much constantly somewhere in the middle of the Narnia series. And I'm like, if I'm feeling sad, I'm going to read The Horse and His Boy. You can't take that away from me. So, it's just, that's where we are. But yeah, my Barnes & Noble Winnie the Pooh, Barnes & Noble collectible Winnie the Pooh is way up high, and it is beautiful. But yeah. Heather, what's your prettiest book?
Did you find one?
Well, I'm really lame because a lot of my books are dark. Either that or they're Christmas. Like,
Christmas books
there's a lot
count.
of I know, but I'm gonna make y'all laugh. Do you guys ever like to buy books who have like the movie adaptation cover? Do you guys ever like to do that? Well, look what I ran into whenever I was trying to find one.
Oh, there's my boy. I couldn't finish that book.
Really?
And I wanted to.
I liked it a lot. I will say that I did like the movie better. Sorry, book. But I mean, it's just so pretty. I can't get rid of it because,
I will grab for you my movie tie-in book that I keep out, so you can see. It's
okay. I'll feel better.
Oh,
and then
goodness.
I have this one. This one's really new. This was my Dollar Tree find. Isn't that pretty?
Oh, yeah.
It's got the gold foil on it and everything.
That's pretty.
I haven't read it yet, but I mean, it's got this like strange little dude.
I told my family that I want the Barnes and Nobles, the ones that they're there and you could get like Peter Pan, or you can get like all of those. Yeah, Abby has a couple that they're beautifully bound. They're like $20 a piece. I'm like, I would really like one of those every year for Christmas, please and thank you. And they're like, but you already have books. I'm like, but I only have 4 Peter Pan covers and I need another one.
My mom laughed at me when I bought Winnie the Pooh because it was $10. It was on sale. And she's like, do you need that? You have Winnie the Pooh. I was like, yes, Mom, I need it.
I spent $10 on this, Batman Returns, because the Penguin is my jam. It's like my favorite. He's not on the cover, but I can't wait to read and get more into the life of Oswald Cobblepot. The would-be mayor.
What a name. Oswald Cobblepot. That's incredible. I was thinking as I was, Heartless is really pretty. This is
that's a great book.
I haven't read it yet. Don't come for me.
I
know, but look at this thing.
I like that so much without the dust cover. Like, I like the dust cover, but like, I like that book.
No, this one I bought on Black Friday at like a Target because I was like, oh, I haven't read Heartless, I should get it. And then I opened it, I was like, oh, I need it. So I've had it for like 3 years and I still haven't read it, but I will. Haven't gotten there yet.
If this had Oswald on the cover, then it would have been out for my prettiest book. But he's only on the back, so. He's my favorite movie character.
I love that. So we have been talking about reading Mother Knows Best in a reading sprint. Are you guys up for that? Would you guys like to do that?
I volunteer tribute.
Okay.
Mother Knows Best is the Serena
Valentino. Yeah. Okay. I've read this.
Yes, I have too.
But I do really, of the Serena Valentino books, it is a thicker one, but I really, really love this one because it goes so in depth in the characters and stuff. Like, it's beautiful. So I'm down to reread it.
I am too. I thought it was one of the more fast-paced. It really kept my attention a lot better than some of the other ones that I've read from that series.
Yes.
But, yeah.
I agree.
There's a lot going on.
And it's everything is intertwined. Yeah. So like you are invested in every avenue, where some of them, like Poor Unfortunate Souls, is like
Tony.
I will say Mother Knows Best, this I don't think is a spoiler, but I did wonder. I kept the whole book, I'm like, when is Rapunzel gonna show up? That's the only.
Well, that's a great question to go and wonder going in. Like, how did that all happen?
Yeah,
they should be more Tarzan stuff.
I know. We were talking about that. I think at the last book club live, weren't we? We were talking about different Twisted Tales, and Tarzan would be a really cool one. I think. I don't know what they do with it, but I think it would be really cool.
I mean, I'm on Stromboli's. I'm ready for Stromboli.
Yeah. My niece and you're our only hope. So.
You know.
What made him so into puppets?
Is it like in Once Upon a Time, Jiminy Cricket's backstory, where his parents turned into puppets? Isn't that how that went?
Yes.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Could go any number of
Did
ways.
you grasp
Hi,
how
Tony.
her parents were kind of styled like Honest John and Gideon because her hair was done to be like Cat. I thought that was so freaking clever.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Man, Once Upon a Time was really, really clever. Those first few seasons, they really. It was very deep. What?
That's a tease.
Oh no!
No, what the heck is happening right now?
I think she thought of something she had to go get.
That's what I'm thinking. That she's like found a Once Upon a Time book.
Because there are some, and I haven't
Yeah.
read any of them.
I have one, but I haven't read it.
Yeah.
It's just so good.
Yeah.
As
The
it
first
was.
few seasons, man, they really.
The Huntsman. Yeah,
Yeah.
so when Nicole just gives her reveal, then
Her big reveal that she's
yeah,
just left
'cause
us.
then I got to film that pin tag that Alicia and I are in tomorrow,
And my mom is visiting, so she's like, "It's past her bedtime," and I'm like,
Oh.
I'm sorry."
Well,
part 2 we find out what Nicole is doing.
you'll have to tune in next time to see what Nicole has.
I was gonna say we definitely need to do part 2 of this because I feel like we're just kind of like scratching the surface.
We are.
Like the first 30 minutes was Heather estaticking and causing drama, and yeah,
I
so
could definitely talk books at length with you guys anytime. I really enjoy it. I was kind of so involved that it wasn't like normal chats where I'm like, oh my god, do I have people in? What do I need to do? It's like I didn't even notice. Like,
Yeah. That's the beauty I find of finding bookish friends. I didn't have that many growing up, but I found them now that I've gotten older. And you're like, okay, these people get it. Like you stop and you sniff a book every once in a while, and it makes you happy.
is that what you left to do, Nicole?
Yeah, I actually remembered that we found at Ollie's a graphic novel that was a once upon a time. They have a comic book
Yeah.
based on the book. So we bought it, but I don't know to whose room it has gone into. And I have like 7 bookshelves. So
I remember several years ago they had like they're like junior novels, but they had them in the parks for a while as like you could buy them at the Disney parks. And I remember seeing them, and every time I'd think I should buy that, and then I didn't. But now I wish I had. Did you know they had Mr. Gold's door at Hollywood Studios?
No.
In the Streets of America, they had the window with all of the stuff. It had like the unicorn mobile and the dagger and the spinning wheel and all this stuff, and it was the coolest thing ever.
And
I
we
kept
were-
trying to get Tommy to go to Canada.
Yeah, the teacup too.
Mm-hmm. I have
They
pictures of all
don't-
them. So
yeah.
glad I took them.
Yeah.
Nicole, Heather was mentioning that we have to do a part 2 of this. So on part 2, hopefully you'll find it, and then you'll be able to show it off.
yeah, I could
Maybe Heather will find her Agatha Christie book. It's disappeared.
Maybe I'll read
maybe.
one.
There's always hope, you guys. There's always hope. So if you guys would like to continue this next month, Abby, if you're free next month,
As far as I know,
okay. I know
I
can't
will
do
make
book
time.
parts.
I will make time.
Busy reading.
I will be in full celebration mode on Michaela's birthday, which is the 31st. So that's the last Saturday of the month. I won't be able to do that, but I will definitely get with you guys and see what works behind the scenes for you guys. So for everybody watching, make sure you're checking on Instagram and following along, and on the Disney YouTubers group and things like that. And we will definitely keep you updated because I would love to talk with you guys again.
And by next
Thank
month,
you.
everybody go read Go the Distance, and then we'll just talk about it here too.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, thank you for listening to us all geek out about the characters we've met and the places we've gone and the books that we love and how we got there and when we don't want to and whether or not we're polygamous or monogamous. And remember, kids, you don't have to get
You don't have to get high to fly.
There you go.
I hope you've all learned that reading slumps are normal,
Yeah.
Mhm.
a normal thing, and that you should dive into a book just to smell it every once in a while.
Yeah.
And don't stop alive just because you're crackling. Just
There
keep
you go.
trucking along.
Push through. We can go.
Crackle on, my friends. Crackle on.
Crackle on.
It's So before we go, I just wanted to give everyone the floor to let everyone know what they're doing on their channel or what they're excited about that's coming up soon. So Miss Abby, I will let
Oh,
you
goodness.
go first.
I know tomorrow we have. I crashed Sticker Sunday again. We're doing a Be Happy Box unboxing because the new Disney Happy Planner Happy Box dropped and it's adorable.
Yes.
You should all come and watch that tomorrow. And we have some exciting things coming up in the next month or so. So, yeah. We probably won't. I will say we probably won't have many park vlogs. I mean, we might have a few, but it's so hot that honestly, it's no fun going right now because it's just ridiculous.
I liked when Abby was at the Contemporary for a video, and you guys were at the
we were talking about that. I think we might do more of those, just like shop with me, like little ones where they're all mostly inside, so we don't have to sweat quite so much. But yeah,
those are fun to watch.
Good. I'm glad. And I am currently filming another reading vlog, so we'll see if that when that happens.
That was so good. That was
thanks.
Good.
Yeah. I forgot. Speaker on. Nicole, would you like to go next?
Hi. We have stuff coming up, and you don't really have to go watch if you don't want to, and I can force you.
Yes, you do. You have to watch them. They're wonderful.
We have Funkos and fabric, and I have fallen down really hard. I'm like in love with Jujubee right now, so I've been purchasing a little too many bags, and I've actually filmed them. Normally I don't film all my stuff. And we have snack crates, and we have ear swaps, and I have other swaps, and I have you know, Disney and dinos and family and fun. Jazz hands.
And lots of jazz hands.
A lot of times it's my kids either annoying me or me annoying them. Like, let's be completely honest. That's what mainly you see.
Also, I just noticed your Peter Pan shirt, and it's adorable.
Yes, I noticed it.
So cute.
I know.
I love the theming. See, Heather and I both went like Beauty and the Beast, and you went, you know.
Well, this is what I'm currently in the hole for. Like,
Nicole has hardcore gone to Neverland, and I don't know if we'll ever see her again.
If lost, please return to Neverland.
Yes.
So on my channel, Wrestling with Disney, tonight I'm gonna film a pin tag and post it in less than 12 hours from now. So that's like immediate fun. And there's a Christmas in July swap coming up. I like to sign up for some tags and swaps because it keeps me accountable on the channel. Because like I'm a mood reader, I'm a mood vlogger too. Just when I feel like filming something, I do it. So nothing too much set other than those tags and the swaps, but they come up pretty consistently. And who knows, maybe we'll do a Batman Returns reading vlog in case you do want to know more about Oswald Cobblepot, the would-be mayor of Gotham City. How's that for a promo?
I love it. Also, Nina and I just posted a book tag, so everybody should go do the book tag. And
we are doing that too. Like, yeah, I think I was waiting for Belle because Belle wants to partake. Because my little introverted, very quiet child will talk a lot, especially about books.
Yeah.
So.
I have. Wait, where did it go? Hope made me put this on my chair earlier, and then I dropped it on the floor. Introverted, but we'll talk about.
Yes, I love it. Yes. I found a shirt with Baby Yoda, and it says that. And I'm like, I want it, and then I went to buy it, and it was sold out.
Oh no!
It's sad.
Well, that's nice.
Coming up on the Disney Housewife channel.
Oh, I don't know. I was just enjoying you guys so much. I have another Funko video where I'm going to be sharing Damon's. It'll come up Monday, and then I'm kind of gearing up for July because I plan to include Michaela a lot. I'm just really excited to celebrate her birthday all month long and all of the things that I didn't get to do for her last year. So we will be doing a Wishables unbagging, and I think I'm going to try to do it live if my camera's not crackling.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But it's funny because like when she sees herself, she's like,
Yeah.
Instead of her cute little smiley self, she's just like, what's happening? Is this in real time? But in the mirror, she's like, hey, how you doing? So
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
find a happy medium, Michaela. Be happy.
You
in
almost
the
have to
camera
put the
life.
tripod next to the mirror, and then hopefully
Yes.
mirror Michaela will just distract
Come
her.
out.
That is a good idea. We will just like plop down in her bedroom and just hang out and have such a great time. Bye, Johnny. Thank you for coming.
I know we've been talking for 2 hours because
No.
literally you get me started talking about books, I will never shut up. So any of my siblings will tell you that.
Oh, like, Abby, call me. We'll keep talking.
Yeah.
I have honestly loved the chat. We have a booktubers chat on Instagram, and it brings me so much joy that we get to just talk about it all the time.
Me
I
too.
love it.
I love it. And so I actually, besides that, I will be tagging you guys. I don't know if you saw it in the chat, but the Nerdy Narrative did a Moody book tag. So because we were talking about that, I just thought, like, once I do that, I will make sure I tag you guys in it. It was pretty cool because
Definitely.
you didn't really have to have any books to bring in for prompts for it.
Yeah.
It's just talking about like our reading preferences and stuff. So I thought that was really cool since we talked about it. And
that'll be great. Like, Abby has a 50-minute video, Moody book tag of just her talking books.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm gonna try to fit that in, and my book haul. I might go live on that, just like on the fly, like I promised last time. But so I may do that. But other than that, that is about it. Same old thing. But I do appreciate all of you coming on, Abby, Nina, Nicole, and Allie before you left, if you're still watching. And for everyone who is engaged in the chat, I love that you guys are so supportive and so sweet. And I love hearing like what you guys are doing and what you're up to. And just thank you so much for the continued support and love. I truly adore you guys. So it's not just something I say, I truly mean that. But thank you guys so much. Is there anything that anyone else would like to add?
Thank you for having us, Heather. Thank you for sacrificing time with your family to come and chat with us and for all of the viewers.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you guys for letting me join your pajama party. Because this has been like, I've loved watching these so much. And I feel special.
If you would like to become an official member,
You are special, Abby.
Thank you.
We'll leave that open spot.
You really like me.
I know. Paul and I were like, well, I mean, if they ever have somebody who can't show up, like, they can totally call us. We'll jump in.
We would love that. So,
yeah.
Thank you. Uh-oh. We don't mind.
Oh.
So we'll go on another hour.
If you don't need her, I mean, we'll keep her.
Wow. Okay. Well, no, I will go talk.
You know that Funko haul you're posting of Damon's? It's a Funko sale.
There you go. Who would like the Stone Cold Steve Austin?
Yeah. Sold.
I have. Let's see. I've got the bobsled. I've got Clark Griswold. I've got.
Ooh, mine.
Marvel. So when that video goes live on Monday, just start bidding in the comments below. And, I'm just kidding, babe. All right, guys.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.